Hello there. Welcome to part 2. Now, since you've been gone, I've taken the pan off the heat just for a few moments because it was starting to bubble really good, and I don't want it to bubble too much because it'll, you know, all this steam means there's moisture coming out of the sauce. So I took it off for a few moments. Now, the chips are almost done. This is the same Mexican rice I used last time with, it was the chicken, the stuffing, the bacon, with this rice in this, with this Grossman sauce. Now, actually, what it does, it stands up in the microwave, but it's too big, so I've had to cut the top off. This is a handy hint for you. There you go, just put that in there. 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back to the simmer, just let it heat up again, because it was bubbling too much. The chips are very close to finishing, so to recap, I've got a minute and a half, 2 minutes for the microwave to do, so I'll recap what I've done. Is my new t-shirt, there we go. So anyway, boneless pork chop, which was quite a thick one. I put that in the pan with a bit of oil, cut it up into half, with the two halves, cut them into halves, and then them into halves, and then them, so then you end up with 20 little sugar cube size pieces. You basically just fry it. Not too hard, you know, just on a sort of medium-ish heat till it's all brown, nice and cooked, and when it's just a few minutes from being sort of cooked, or 5 minutes from cooked, you throw in your bacon. In this case I'm using bacon, you can put sausage meat or, you know, chopped up sausages. If you've got a couple of them in the fridge from one of my other recipes that you were making, use those, cut them up, throw them in there. Anyway, you cook them up nice and brown, and because remember you've got to cook them before you put in the loy or whatever sauce you're putting in, because once you put the sauce in, you're basically just simmering it. You don't want to cook it anymore. And this is getting very. See, if you have it in too long, it starts to get really thick, like this is. This is starting to get thick. It's still good. Okay, so then you throw in your second meat. If you're putting in the second meat, brown that off till it's all cooked. Throw in whatever sauce you have. Turn it down to a low heat. You just want it to simmer for about 10 minutes. Meantime, you can do whatever you like over here. If you want to put chips, or what I did last time with the last dish was wedges, so you're using up the last few wedges in the packet. This time I'm using up the last few chips in the packet. So I'm doing that, so you've got time to cook that. You're doing the thing in the microwave with the rice. Now when it comes out, there's my big pasta bowl here. When it comes out, I should put the rice in the bowl, put the sauce on top, mix that all around. Yeah, I'm on just a few seconds there, and then pour on the sauce here. Which the sauce, of course, with the pork chop and the bacon. Okay, so let's see, get rid of that. Put this over here. You can see that, I think. Okay, what we're going to do? We're going to pour that in there. Just pour it out there. That's all good. And then you've got the rice, nice and steaming in the bowl there. Okay. Now this sauce has been on the fire for long enough, so you can see that. Now I'm just going to pour that over the rice. It's difficult actually pointing it this way. I'm used to the other way, but yeah, just pour it in there. Now, in an emergency, if it gets too thick, because it's been on the cooker for too long, you can always add an egg cup full of, the equivalent to an egg cup full of water into the sauce here, and that'll just loosen it up a bit. Because remember, when you're cooking it, all this steam that's coming up, what that is, that's water That's water that's in the food. So when all that water gets evaporated, that means that there's less water in the food, and it turns out it starts to dry out. So that's all you're doing. It's not, you know, it's not anything major. You just put a bit of moisture back into the food. That's all. Okay, so now we're mixing all the rice with the ingredients, and I've got a big chunk of rice there. Yeah, mix that up. Okay, that's good. Yeah, okay. Now, this is the last few chips I had in the bag, so if I didn't have chips, I would have had wedges. If I didn't have wedges, I would have just put onion rings or something like this. Okay, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring you down. Okay, can you alright, the trouble is I don't have a wide lens on my camera, so it's a bit of a drag. Okay, so there we have it. We've got one pork chop, 2 bits of bacon that were left over from the previous, I had to use them up today, you know, I figure, right, you know. Lloyd Grossman's sauce, or any kind of cooking sauce that you fancy. I'm only using Lloyd Grossman's because it was on sale, right? But you can use any shop brand. Then some Co-op rice. They've got about 6 or so varieties of that. That's 75p a go. And whatever chips you have left over in the bag. Yeah. It's very spicy. Although I don't normally go for spicy, but it's hot spicy I don't go for. But this is quite nice, yeah. There is some, yeah, it is what you'd call a spicy dish. It's not overly hot in the spicy area, but which is good. But there definitely is some spices in there. Chips are very hot. Yeah, and you can just mix all that in, all the chips. The sauce, I can feel the sauce is actually quite thick. When, you know, spooning it up with the rice here. It's because it was in the frying pan for slightly longer than I would like. But it's just that I had to time this with the chips, with the rice, you know, so. But it's still good. I mean, like I say, you know, just add a little bit, just a touch of water if you need to, but even if it is thick, it's still fine. Now this is very good. I could eat 2 of these. And the good thing is, you can pretty much use scraps in here. You can, I mean, I used one, you know, pork chop. I mean, you probably, if you can probably buy 1 or 2 pork chops at a time, I would imagine. I sometimes buy them in a pack. But if you've got the odd sausage left in the fridge, like me, I've got 2 bits of bacon left over in the fridge, you can just throw that in with it, you know. If it's a case of use it, or you've got to throw it out, you know, just throw it in here. It's a mix of everything in here. Yeah, the rice is good. The rice is kind of a mix. It's a Mexican rice. It's got cooked long grain rice with sweet corn, beans and red peppers. When it says beans, it's talking about kidney beans. I can see those in here. But yeah, you know, I hope that, you know, because I get messages now and again that people are inspired, you know, and that they want to copy what I've done. And hopefully I explained it in a way that is accessible for people who don't know. I mean, I'm not a chef, you know. I'm winging this. I'm just taking things that I like and my experience of, you know, living here for a long time. I've had to, you know, do my own cooking. Just using that to incorporate, you know, some interesting stuff. So, if I'm hoping that I'm explaining it to people in a way that they can understand it if they're not familiar with, you know, the culinary arts. But yeah, hopefully that's straightforward for you. And I hope you take inspiration from this, you know. Go ahead, try this, you know. Try some variants on it. Try wedges instead of chips. Try onion rings instead of chips. Try a different type of rice. I like the Mexican one. You can use pilar, plain, egg fried rice, balsamic rice. Change the bacon for sausages. Change the bacon for lamb. You know, you can do anything. It's all about improvising with whatever you got, you know. Sometimes you don't have to go to the shop to buy some stuff. Just use what's in the house, just improvise. Just use what you got. Just do what you can with what you got. That's another line I seem to quote movies quite a lot. Anyway, so yeah, I'll leave that with you, and by all means write to me, tell me what you think. If you're going to copy it, tell me what you did. And thank you very much if you stuck around for part 2, which I hope you did, because I think it's well worth it, well worth the wait personally, but then I am biased. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.